What's up, everybody? This is Rob from Healthy You, where we help busy entrepreneurs, high-end professionals, executives crush their insulin resistance so they can lose fat, regain their energy, and overall improve their quality of life. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you exactly about how I reversed my insulin resistance and lost 90 pounds and crushed my prediabetes and a bunch of other health issues as a busy professional who is very focused on my career goals. And the goal of this video is to arm you with some of the tools and knowledge to really lose fat, regain your energy, and pretty much repair your body so you can get back in the peak condition to crush your career goals, personal goals, really get the most out of your relationships with loved ones, kids, family, to really increase your quality of life, because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for. That's why we do this, is for the people around us. And most importantly, not be a slave to the healthcare system that's constantly abusing us to drain us financially. And, none of us want to be a burden on the people that we love, especially if we get sick and continue to get sicker from likely something that we could have prevented. But if you're watching this, you probably feel stuck. I know I did. Going back and forth online, listening to different influencers, trying different fad diets, trendy supplements, soul-crushing workouts to lose a little bit of weight, only to gain it all back again and then some. And you feel as if there's no answer and nothing really works for you. This is exactly how I felt back in 2019, where I had tried carnivore, keto, low-calorie diets, and they all worked for a short period of time, but of course something at work always came up, or some personal matter always came up, and I couldn't stick to the diet long term because they weren't sustainable. And I'd gain all the weight back and then some. And this cycle continued several times. So honestly, if you resonate with what I just said, a lot of what you're going through isn't your fault. A lot of online gurus don't give the best advice when it comes to actually correcting your health long term. And what I'm actually going to share with you in this video is actually how many online gurus stay healthy and keep their body fat down year round. And this is something that I wish I knew when I was diagnosed with prediabetes. Let me tell you a little bit more about my background. This is me back in 2018, 2019. I was 270 pounds. I was pre-diabetic. I was constantly tired, unmotivated, constant fatigue, dizziness, mood swings. I was constantly jumping from fad diet to fad diet, spinning my wheels, losing weight, and then after a few weeks getting burnt out from the restrictiveness of the diet, or something from work would come in the way, or some type of family event or crisis in which I could no longer stick to the diet, and then I'd fall off the rails. Because I'd already struggled from binge eating and stress eating in the past, I would relapse, and I would gain back all the weight and then some. Okay? I was constantly in that cycle for years. I felt as if I tried everything, but nothing specifically worked for me, or at least long term. Things would work for a few weeks, and then I would eventually fall off. It was always a matter of time. I could never stick with anything for more than a few months. And eventually, over time, my condition got worse and worse and worse. Until it got so bad where I was forced to look for different solutions outside the ones preached on mainstream media. Because I was listening to all these online gurus preaching all these fad diets and soul crushing workouts, I knew I needed something different because that stuff clearly wasn't working for me. Now fast forward a few years later, I lost 90 pounds. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. I've regained back all my energy and then some. And now my focus is better than ever before. And the best part about this is I didn't do any fad diets. I didn't do any long soul-crushing workouts in the gym. No medications, no surgeries, all right? No gastric sleeves, no trendy fat burners or anything like that. No injections. I created sustainable lifestyle habits, healthy habits and systems that allowed me to do this, achieve these results, and keep them long term. And in this video, I'm going to go into exactly how I did that. And more importantly, after figuring this out, how I helped systematize this and make it more adaptable and scale it. You know, when I first figured this out, I thought it was something that would uniquely only work for me, but that's not the case. I began to kind of teach it to other people. First, you know, my friends and family, co-workers, but then after talking about it online, that evolved into over 50 busy entrepreneurs, executives, high-end professionals to help them achieve similar results to me. And, you know, this is how I got some of the results from some of my clients that you see here. Andrew, Ryan, Brittany, all of whom suffered from deleterious issues of insulin resistance and now are in much better positions, particularly Andrew, who was full type 2 diabetic and now is almost completely off medication as a whole. Same thing with Brittany. She used to be pre-diabetic and no longer is pre-diabetic or has hypertension. But we'll get more into that later. What I really want to discuss is, who is this video for? This video is for busy professionals who have very busy lifestyles. So executives, entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, high-end professionals, managers, developers. People who are constantly working and trying to balance their career and family obligations. All right? As well as they might be suffering from pre or type 2 diabetes and all the other things that come along with that. Overweight, hypertension, fatty liver, all these other bad metabolic issues that come with insulin resistance. You might be confused about how to sustainably attack this issue. You might be like me, you've listened to all these online gurus and you've tried these different fad diets, supplements, and these crazy workouts only to lose a little bit of weight and then gain it all back. And you're now confused on how to sustainably attack this issue because nothing's worked long term. Like me, you're tired of fad diets, you're tired of trendy supplements, you're tired of being on medication, and you want to be around for your loved ones. You want to have more energy, you want to have the best quality life possible so you can have the best relationships possible, so you can have the best career possible. And I guess the last part is people who are ready to take full accountability for everything in regards to their health. They no longer want to have a victim mindset and blame the mass media or big food or big pharma for their condition. They're ready to take their health into their own hands, and they're ready to invest in themselves and their health in order to do that. And I guess the last thing, which is kind of falls into the accountability portion, but to be authentic and honest with yourself. Because when you're authentic and honest, you can properly critique yourself in terms of where you need to improve with your health habits and your goals. You can take honest feedback and criticism, listen to it, and implement the strategies that you need to in order to get to where you need to be. However, who is this video not for? Pretty much the opposite of what I just described. People who do have a victim mindset, who are blaming all the online gurus on social media for giving them terrible advice, who are blaming big food, big pharma, the Medicare system, who are not taking accountability for the choices that they have made for their health. They are non-committal. They don't want to commit to any strategy or tactic for a long period of time. Why? Because that usually lends into them being short-term thinkers. Short-term thinkers usually don't do well with long-term habit formation because they want quick results, they want things cheap, easy, and Although this will likely be easier than any fad diet or soul crushing workout, it still will take some effort. Okay? So this is not for short term thinkers, diet hackers, supplement hackers, or whatever. This video is not for you. This is about people who are looking for sustainable systems and how to develop habits that will last them a lifetime and that will get them to their goals and have it be enjoyable in the process. This is also not for people who are very impulsive and self-absorbed. If you're impulsive, emotional, those people are usually not the best at taking criticism or, listening to advice that will lend themselves toward improving toward their health habits. They'll usually tend to fall more into a victim mindset. And like I said, if you have a victim mindset, you don't hold yourself accountable, you're not going to do well with the things I describe. Also, if you're just here to lose weight for an event, for a wedding, vacation, or just want to lose weight, in general, and don't care about these other aspects of your life, like your family, your career, you're not doing this to improve your quality of life as a whole and really get the most out of this world around you, and you just want to look better. Nothing wrong with wanting to look better. We all love looking good. But if this is just about weight loss to you, this is not for you. This is a holistic lifestyle approach that I'm about to give you guys. And if you just want to lose weight, there's plenty of online gurus talking about fad diets online. They'll help you lose weight only for you to gain it all back again. So you can go follow them. But this video is not going to be for you. So without further ado, let's move on. So in this video, we're going to be covering is a 3-step process. We're going to start with obstacles. The main thing that we're going to get out of today is how to identify what's holding you back. This is a simple process, multi-step process that I use to figure out what's actually holding me back from my health goals. As well as identify a lifestyle process and how I create bulletproof systems for me to work around these obstacles, remove them, and consistently get results. And then how to scale these systems and make them more adaptable to amplify and improve my results in all situations. So why am I sharing this info in the first place? And that's a good question. Mainly because I'm sick of online influencers selling everybody snake oil. I'm sick of the fad diets. I'm sick of the trendy supplements. I'm sick of all the crap that's spewed online. Because your favorite health influencers aren't doing any of that. They're doing what I'm about to tell you in this video. Okay? I'm also tired of the healthcare system taking advantage of people. The only reason that the food is the way it is in grocery stores, the reason that the healthcare system is how it is because diabetes, prediabetes, metabolic disease is a very profitable industry, especially for the healthcare system. From medications to doctor visits to surgeries, they make a lot of money, and they're constantly taking advantage of people who kind of don't know better. And in this video, my goal is to help you sort of take the power back and not rely on the healthcare or medical system as much. More make the medical system, healthcare system work for you instead of the other way around. And most importantly, I want to create a world full of more healthy people. That's my ultimate goal and vision with Healthy You. Is just to create a healthier world as a whole where people take full accountability for their health and everyone can look and feel better, have a higher quality of life, and just get the most out of the limited time that we have on this planet. So let's get into what insulin resistance is and what it's actually caused by. And this is a little different than what you might think. But insulin resistance is a metabolic disorder of where your body's cells become less responsive or more resistant to the hormone insulin. Now remember, insulin is a hormone that's secreted by the pancreas to take excess glucose out of the bloodstream and send it to different cells in the body for energy. Now, when your cells in your body have enough energy and they've taken enough glucose, your body stores the excess glucose as adipose tissue, which is body fat. Okay? And if you have even more outside of what the fat generation process can contain, it'll start to store in the liver or on different organs in the body, which is visceral fat. Now, what really causes this? I know most of you are going to go right to the food or calories, and that's all true. Your food choices and how much you eat are a direct correlator to insulin resistance. That's absolutely true. But what leads you to making those decisions? It is one thing and one thing only, and that is your stressful lifestyle and your choices and habits. And mainly for me, this was my stress eating and a lot of the habits that I had around relieving stress, which was binge eating. That was the case for me. I was constantly binge eating as well as eating delivery, fast food. That was the outlet for my stress because I was working long hours at my job and I was constantly under the microscope for my performance. And this is how I let loose with sugary snacks full of calories, saturated fat, and sugar. That's what I did. And that is how my insulin resistance progressed over time into prediabetes. How do we attack our insulin resistance? The first thing we need to do, which is what I mentioned earlier, is we need to attack the main obstacles that are holding us back from our health goals. Now, how do we do that? The main obstacles that were holding me back were working long hours at my desk, constantly sitting down, no movement, sacrificing sleep to get more work done, or spend time with my family. Sacrificing sleep was a big, big issue for me. And a lot of people don't know how crucial sleep is to your energy levels and regulating the hormones in your body. Another obstacle that was holding me back was indulging in the fast food, delivery, snacking a lot. This is what my life looked like, guys. I was working a lot, binge eating, under massive amounts of stress, and I constantly felt stuck in this cycle. That my life just doesn't have a lot of wiggle room. And what I had to realize is that my life was never not going to be busy. I'm always going to be busy, and that I need to start right now. I need to take accountability for my situation. I chose this lifestyle, so I need to take accountability for it, and I need to find systems that can get me toward my health goals that I can integrate into my busy lifestyle. What does that mean? These restrictive fad diets cannot work. I need to develop core principles, tactics, values, and I need to create priorities for my health. I need to create my dream healthy lifestyle that I have as a busy professional or entrepreneur. And what changes do I need to make in order to make that last long term and be honest with myself? When I started to think about these obstacles and identify them, this is how I started creating my lifestyle plan. But once again, I need to gain clarity on my goals first. What are my goals? Stabilize my blood sugar and lose fat. Become the person I need to be in order to get there. And what does that look like long term? Create the lifestyle plans and habits that are necessary to get me toward my goals. Now that I know what my goals are, I can start to reverse engineer a sustainable path to get me there. And this is how I start diving into the lifestyle plan that I created. Now, because my lifestyle was all over the place, I knew nothing about nutrition, the foods to eat or how much to exercise. And of course, I lacked confidence because of how many times I tried and failed. I know this sounds familiar to many of you, but, I was starting at a pretty, bad place. Stressed out, 270 pounds, pre-diabetic, underslept, sedentary. So what I did was I wrote out all my daily tasks and obligations. I mapped out all the different situations that could arise that could cause me to fall off a specific eating style or plan. I laid out what all those instances were that commonly happen. I could identify them and say, okay, this usually happens. This is how often it happens. Okay, I have long projects at works, probably once or twice a month, where I'll have to spend a few days cranking out 14, 15-hour days to get projects done. Or I'll have to go watch my brother's kids, once or twice a month. And, that can throw things off. Or I'll travel once a month and I may not know what to eat when I'm on the road. These are things that happen. These are things that have thrown me off in the past. Now, I can think about the types of foods that I want to eat. What has pushed me back from crushing the diets that I wanted to eat in the past? Meaning, what's made me fail with certain diets? Like, was it cravings? Was it restrictive options when it came to food? What held me back? And it usually was those two things. It was cravings and lack of options. I didn't know what to eat when I was on the road. I didn't know what to eat when I was, traveling out. I didn't have any options that I could indulge in situations outside what I planned for. And that consistently led me to relapse. Now that I know what my obstacles are, I laid them out. I laid out my daily obligations. Now I can start planning around my daily obligations and around my obstacles to mitigate them as much as possible. So, what can I do to make sure that I stick to my plan long term? And the first thing that came to mind was I need to find meals I actually enjoy eating that actually fit within a proper diet style that I need to adhere to. So, I need to find healthy meals that I enjoy eating that allow me to be in a caloric restriction and fast. Because once I find healthy meals that I like, this heavily reduces the chances of me binge eating or snacking. Because if I love the meals and they make me full, I'm satiated, and they taste good, I have no reason to snack or binge eat. Because I'm full. Whenever I was snacking or binge eating, it was either because I was hungry, had cravings, or I was stressed out. So now, if I find meals that I actually enjoy eating, even if I'm stressed out, I can indulge in meals that I actually like and that are conducive toward my goals. The next thing is to increase my exercise and my walking and track these things long term. Be strategic toward my approach. The more long term I started thinking, the more consistent I became. And the more I cut myself slack. Because I knew I was in this for the rest of my life versus 3 or 4 months. Once I sort of started to figure out the meals that worked for me and I had systems to track everything that I was doing and developed a long-term mindset, I started to think about what tools I could use to make this easier for myself so I can scale this. And this is essentially what I did. And these are some of the cliff notes, but I ate a lot of protein and vegetables as well as some carbs. In future videos, I'll break down exactly what I was eating, but I prioritized as much vegetables and as much protein as I wanted because that was satiating and I enjoyed eating that, especially different types of meat, fish. I had all of it, as well as veggies, some fruit, and legumes. I had all of that. And I'd make delicious meals, and I could eat out at some fast food restaurants knowing what I could get. I found great tasting meals and recipes. I started fasting for 12 to 14 hours a day. I stopped drinking anything that contained calories, sugar. This was massive because you don't know how many calories that you're actually like ingesting and drinking throughout your day with juices, dessert coffees, energy drinks, sodas. That adds up a lot. And I started getting in more regular exercise. Steps, usually a few thousand steps after every meal. And I started to prioritize sleep. This was huge. Prioritizing sleep helped regulate my hormones, my cravings, and made this whole process way easier. And I started planning and preparing for different situations. And this is, as I mentioned before, how I started to scale this lifestyle plan. Now, what was the outcome of this? I made long-term sustainable progress toward crushing my insulin resistance and losing weight. I never needed to diet again because I enjoyed my meals. I enjoyed what I was eating, so I felt no need to restrict myself or do any insane fad diets because this became my new lifestyle. The weight loss became automatic as a result because it was easy for me to stick to this eating regimen. I have more energy now than ever. My blood sugar stabilized, and my body's starting to heal itself. Because I'm starting to see results, I have improved confidence, and my personal relationships are starting to improve as a result of my healthier body and my healthier mind. Now, how do I make the system bulletproof? Meaning, how do I make it adaptable to different situations and my busy lifestyle? Meaning, how do I make it enjoyable most of the time? And how can I even indulge in some bad food here and there and not have it wreck my day or my week? And this is exactly what I did. I used as many tools around me to give me different options. So meal prep services, fast food here and there, because not all fast food is terrible if you choose the right foods that work for you. At grocery stores, supplementation to ensure that I got my nutrients in as well as accelerate my results. I used all the different options around me, so I knew exactly what I could get when I traveled, exactly what I could indulge in when different work projects come about or family crises arise. Now I had more and more options. And this made this process way easier for me to stick to long term. And what was the outcome? Now these systems are starting to become bulletproof and adaptable. No matter when I travel, no matter what situations arise, I can maintain my progress, no matter what. And my results will continue to compound despite my external circumstances. I think the results speak for themselves, okay? And the crazy part is I could have done this quicker had I known exactly what I was doing from the beginning. I lost 90 pounds in 18 months. I crushed my prediabetes, fatty liver, hypertension. My A1C went down over a full point. I was almost type 2 diabetic, and I went down to no longer even being pre-diabetic. I have more energy and focus. I got off all my medication. My quality of life 10x'd. And like I said, I believe I could have done this in half the time had I known what I was doing and followed this plan from the beginning. I figured this out as I went along, okay? I had to pay a bunch of different experts to help fill in the gaps for me. So I implemented similar lifestyle planning for Brittany, who's an internal medicine doctor. She has a super rigorous schedule balancing her marriage, as well as a really busy work schedule working overnights at the hospital. So her planning had to be completely different than the planning I would use for myself. To adapt the plan, adapts the food that she was eating, as well as a fasting schedule, try to work at different other habits that she could implement that would be more sustainable over time. The results? She completely crushed her prediabetes and her hypertension. Her A1C went down from 6.2 to 5.1, and her hypertension's gone. And she lost over 60 pounds in just under 8 months. Same thing with another one of my clients, Andrew, who I mentioned earlier, who's a marketer, works 80 plus hours a week, and he's constantly sitting down and busy. For him, working out on a regular basis was not as realistic in the beginning. So like I said, we focused mainly on adjusting his eating and sleep habits. So we worked at using different meal prep services and different foods that we could prep, for some parts throughout the week. We focused on finding meals that he enjoyed eating and ways that he could make it so he could adhere to it long term. As a result, he was full-blown type 2 diabetic in the beginning, over 7 point something hemoglobin A1C. I forgot how much it exactly was. But now, just over 9 months later, he's no longer type 2 diabetic. His hemoglobin A1C is 5.2, and he's lost almost 90 pounds in just under 8 months. And he's been able to keep it off. And he tells me all the time that he didn't really feel like he made substantial change. He said this is way easier than fad dieting. This was way easier than all the other BS and soul-crushing workouts he's done in the gym. Same thing with Brittany. She was like, oh wait, I don't have to exercise? I don't have to do all these soul-crushing workouts? I was like, no, you don't. She was like, this is way easier. And she was actually one of the people who started pushing me to tell the people about this. So thank you, Brittany. But this stuff works, guys. Lifestyle planning works. Thank you so much if you sat through all that. I really do appreciate you, and I hope you gained a tremendous amount of value from that video. I really wanted to give you guys as much value in terms of laying out the structure of how I crush my insulin resistance. And I know many of you were looking for more dietary hacks and whatnot, but what I laid out in terms of the lifestyle is way more important, because now you can actually implement a lot of different dietary practices into that structure and be successful. Also, if you think the Healthy You program is perhaps a good fit for you, you're a busy entrepreneur, executive, high-end professional, you're perhaps type 2 or pre-diabetic, suffering from many of these issues, please reach out. I have a link in the description where you can book a call. Let's talk about what you're going through and how I can potentially help. I'm here to learn more about you guys, as well as honestly try to make the world a healthier place. So if that sounds like you, please book a call, or you can DM me on Instagram or Facebook, and we can talk more about your health situation, your goals, and I can provide some feedback, lead you in the right direction. And even if you don't want to work with me one-on-one, I can perhaps help steer you and guide you. But like I said, if you go about on your own, things are only going to take you longer and be more painful. So it's really up to you. But once again, I do appreciate you guys. I'm going to have more videos in the future breaking down more ways that you can crush insulin resistance. I appreciate all you guys. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and follow me for more.